Hey everybody, Mr. Movies 87 here, bringing you a new episode of Gaming Breakdown. And today we're talking about another Sony powerhouse, their second console entry, the Sony PlayStation 2. Released in 2000 across most of the world really. March of 2000 for Japan, let me think, October of 2000 for North America, and November of 2000 for Europe. This thing is pretty much the PS1, but better in, well, every way really. Um, this thing has, for the picture right here, it has an expansive library, much like the PS1. I'll be making a lot of comparisons between both, by the way, because, well, they're both similar systems anyway, so it made sense. But yeah, this thing, again, like the PS1, has whatever, any genre of game you like, the PS2 has it, and then some. It has RPGs, first-person shooters, party games, puzzle games, arcade games, action-adventure games, sports games, you name it, this thing has it. And this system also has a ton of my personal favorite games as well. Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2, Final Fantasy XII, Wild Arms 3, Persona 4, Champions of Norath. Just the list again. It goes on and on and on. My first memory with this thing, what year would it have been? I think 2002 or 2003 is when we got it. I forget what time of year exactly. But yeah, my dad brought it home for us. I think after work one day. It was yeah, the PS2 itself, a memory card, and Final Fantasy X, if I recall correctly. And that was our first PS2 game there. And between my brother and I, we've put, I think, combined thousands of hours into that. We have some files there, well, multiple files a piece that are well over 100 hours, like 120, 130. There's just so much to do in that game. Like we love level grinding in that, it's like hours on end with doing that. And we both also love Blitzball. Well, probably some of the few people out there that really do like it. I see so many people saying they hate it. But personally, we both love it. We both love recruiting people for the teams and just getting super, super good in that. It's really, really fun. And I personally, I'm sure he would agree, we would love to see a standalone Blitzball game. Like either put it on like PSN or like make it a standalone title or whatever, like 20 bucks standalone Blitzball. Like you can recruit anyone throughout Spira, online multiplayer. That would be really, really fun in my opinion. I don't think they'll ever do that though, but I mean, a guy can dream, right? So, anyway, what the hell is going on? Well, that's just Crassus and Pompey thrashing about as per usual. Anyway, yeah, the PS2, as far as its library goes, a lot of games continue their success from the PS1 onto the PS2. Final Fantasy being no exception there. And also the Wild Arms series is a big one there. A lot of the Wild Arms titles are actually on the PS2. There's Wild Arms 3, 4, and 5, and Ultra Code F as well, whereas there's only two Wild Arms titles on the PS1, that being 1 and 2. And also, many games throughout here also made their starts on the PS2. One big series of notes being Kingdom Hearts. I remember seeing that commercial when it first came out. I'm like, what is this game and where can I play it? Because it came out, what, in 2002, I believe? I forget when exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was 2002. The commercial was just so cool. It's like, okay, I see like Donald and Goofy, and then I'm also seeing like Cloud and Aeris and Leon. I'm like, what? Like my 12-year-old self loved that. Although I am really, really glad with that, that they made it on the PS3 and got rid of the terrible camera control. Since I hated using L2 and R2 for the camera, it was so annoying back then. But nowadays on the PS3 with HD 1.5, it's programmed to the right analog stick, which is so much more useful there. What else? What else? What else? Oh yeah, shout outs to Champions of Norath 1 and 2. Just the first Champions of Norath, and also the second one's called Return to Arms. I remember my friends Bill and Garth and I would play that years ago at each of our houses, really. You were able to do local multiplayer with the idea of PS2 multi-tap, so the three of us would play that all the time. It was always a mad dash for like, we kill enemies and it's a mad dash, you mash square to pick up enemies' loot. Killing bosses afterwards, oh my god, it was just press that damn button as fast as you can to get all the good equipment. We would of course share it throughout, but it's so much more fun with just my brother and I. As we always have fun with that. We played through Return to Arms like 3 times within like a couple days or so because we just stormed through the game with our characters. What's really cool about that too is you made your characters to start out with, and you didn't import them from game mode to game mode. There's 4 different difficulties there. You need to import them from one to the next. You keep your equipment, well, not equipment. You keep your levels and all that stuff too. Then you just keep going from there and get better and better equipment as you go along. Those games, we need more of those like that. They're really cool, like fantasy style hack and slash RPGs, kind of like MMOs of sorts. Um, but yeah, we need more games like that. I think Dragon's Crown for the PS3 and Vita is similar to that, but it's a side scroller, action adventure sort of thing like that. Whereas Champions of Nora is kind of more like free roaming there. But yeah, those two games kind of under the radar. I would love to see a new one of those for the PS3 or even PS4. You have like full online multiplayer, up to 4 people. Keep the same like dungeon setups, like same like style of gameplay. Really, keep the enemy loot dropping. Maybe make it able so you can craft equipment along the way. That could be cool. Maybe like more character classes, stuff like that. That could be done if done well. That would sell really, really well in my opinion. But yeah, that series has been dead for a while. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks, but what can you do? Um, and one thing to note too for the Final Fantasy series, I didn't mention Final Fantasy 11. I forgot that it was also on the PS2 as an expansion or whatever. A lot of people will think that this is kind of where the Final Fantasy series kind of started its decline, and well, I kind of agree, but I also kind of disagree with that. In my personal opinion, I love 10, 10.2, and 12, but I don't think they're quite as good as, say, like 6, 7, 8, 9, like, and 4, and all that there. It might be nostalgia, but also they're maybe just the better games. This is just all my opinion, of course. I don't want to start some huge, like, comment war or whatever arguing about this. People like the games, people love the games, people don't like the games, whatever. To each their own, simple as that. What else should I also mention? Going over some sports games, actually. One of my first ones I had for this was NHL 2K5, with Gary Thorne and Bill Clement were the announcers for it. Two of the best announcers in like all of sports, in my opinion. I was always a Colorado Avalanche. They were my favorite team back then, and they were really damn good back in the day anyway. I would just school people in that game. I would only play against the computer, obviously, but put up just crap tons of goals a game, have obscenely like overinflated stats, but it was just damn good fun back then. I remember I got that for my one of my birthdays. I think it was maybe my 13th or 14th birthday, or actually no, it's 2K15, so it would have been like my 14th or 15th birthday. I remember having that and Call of Duty 3 for the PS2, obviously. Call of Duty 3 was pretty damn fun, actually. You can only really do the campaign, although I think it had multiplayer, although I don't remember. I always forget, though, the PS2 did have online multiplayer. Not every game did. Like I said earlier, Champions of Norath actually did. I think both games did. But I'm not sure how popular they were back in the day. Though I would assume people play them if they were able to. So, but yeah, I was never able to myself, unfortunately. So, not a big deal there. Special shout out also to the Wild Arms series as a whole. If you guys know me, that's one of my all-time favorite RPG series. Pretty much right up there with like the Final Fantasy series. This is kind of also where the series was getting a little bit eh. Now I say eh, as in not as good as 1 and 2, because those two are phenomenal in my opinion. But the rest of them are still good. I love 3, by the way. 4 I have not beaten, but I still really, really enjoy. 5 I've hardly played. Then Alter Code F, that gets a special mention there because, funnily enough, when we first got that, I was not a fan of it, like, at all. It was, for me, just far too different than the original version. And I mean, it's obvious. It's a PS2 game that came out, like, 7 or 8 years after the original one, so of course there'll be differences there. But yeah, it just didn't sit well with me originally. We had it from, I think from GameFly, ever so many years ago, and then had to send it back. And now I would love to get a hard copy of the game, but it's so damn expensive on Amazon or, well, anywhere really. Hey, knock it off. Sorry. The two scrubs getting a little aggressive over here. So anyway, yeah, I see copies for a run for like 70 to 80 to $90 and like even more than that. Excuse me. But yeah, if I get my hands on a hard copy of that, I would love to play through it again, and actually, well, play it in general, really. But yeah, that'll be in due time there. One thing of note also for the PS2, this is when a lot of games were starting to get HD remasters. I think this is when it was starting to like really turn into like a cool trend. Like 10 and 10-2, for example, got their HD remasters. Persona 4 got its Golden Edition on the Vita, which, by the way, is one of the best games on the Vita. I really should play that more. I don't think I have my copy of the game here, though, unfortunately. So I should try to get it shipped over here somehow from Pennsylvania. That'll be eventually, but yeah. That's also on the PS2 one, like some of the best Persona games out there. And I think actually largely accepted as the most popular Persona game out there. That's a series I really haven't delved into that much. Persona 4 is actually my first Persona game anyway, and my only one for right now. But I really do enjoy it for right now. I'll have to, like I said, get back into that more. Yeah. Anyway, back to the HD remaster things there. This is a lot of games from this the PS2 are starting to do remasters, namely 10 and 10-2. Shout out to 12, by the way. I'm really, really hoping they'll do an HD remaster of that. I believe it came out October 31st, 2006. So we're nearing its anniversary. Of course, October 31st, 2016 would be its anniversary. What I'm hoping is that it'll be announced sometime early next year, and it'll come out on its 10th anniversary day, which would be fantastic. Made it for the PS3 and PS4 if they really wanted to. That's what Square Enix did with wow. That's what they did with 10 and 10-2, of course. PS3, PS4, and Vita. I would get it on the PS3 for sure, but I would play it on the Vita exclusively because having a game like that on a handheld with how good it would look and sound and everything, that for me would be incredible. I would play that all the freaking time and would have no problem with that whatsoever. But yeah, I gotta figure. I mean, they did it with 10 and 10-2, so I have to figure they'll do it with 12 sooner or later. I think it's only a matter of time, really. But that's just me, anyway. What else to go over? I think that's more or less it, actually. But yeah, the PS2, what more needs to be said? Again, the same thing with the PS1. This system is really incredible. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This thing, I think it's one of the most top selling consoles of all time. I checked the numbers earlier. I think it would have been yesterday, I believe. Yeah, I think it sold 155 million units. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. I might be misremembering there, but I think that's the number that I saw there. That might have actually been individual copies of games that have sold for the PS2. Regardless, this thing is really, really damn good. Something for everybody. The sports fan, the first-person shooter, the horror fan, the RPG freak, action adventure, platformer. Top to bottom, this thing is sweet as hell. One thing I also would have liked to get for my own PS2. Funnily enough, my sister, brother, and I each have our own PS2s. Well, I should say had, actually. I would have liked to get a silver PS2. And actually, I was very close to getting one. I had them in GameStop years back. It was a slim model of it. I think it was only $80. I think at GameStop. I'm pretty sure. So that would have been really, really cool to get, just because it looked so damn cool. But yeah, there's that. Oh, also quick mention, Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest 8 on the PS2. That gets a special mention because apparently announced yesterday for the Nintendo Direct there. Dragon Quest 7 and Dragon Quest 8 are coming to the 3DS in the West finally. I've never played DQ8 before, so that I will definitely pick up. I assume they won't be out until like later next year. They're going to be, well, they were just announced, so it'll be a while for those. I've never even played DQ7 either, but yeah, I really want to get 8 because I think that's, from what I've heard, one of the best games out there in the Dragon Quest series there. So there's that. Alright guys, that takes care of that. Thanks a lot for watching. And this has been Mr. Movies 87 signing off. Have a great day and thanks for watching.